Alrighty, hello everyone. Welcome to the next workshop. I hope everyone's doing well and an awesome Christmas vacation. So I'm just gonna get started with sharing my screen right now. Can you give me sharing your screen, Daniel, as well?
Try to figure it out.
Okay, just 1 second.
Should work.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so welcome to the Impact Success Guide. This workshop's gonna be talking about basically how to do well and succeed at this weekend, but not this weekend, honestly. For this workshop's more meant to, I guess, for hackathons in general, how to do well, plan out your project, how to succeed with your goals and whatnot. Hopefully through this workshop, whether you're a newbie or an experienced hacker, hopefully you'll find some useful tips and tricks. So just getting started. I'm Kevin. I'm an impacts coordinator in my second year of UBC Computer Science. This is a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to start off with talking about team formation, how to get started with your team, get familiar with them, find, go from complete strangers to people that you're comfortable working with and able to create an amazing project together. How to brainstorm ideas, how to come up with the perfect hackathon idea for you, how to hack without really having much coding or programming experience, how to get unstuck, as it's quite inevitable with any programming or coding project. And at the very end, once everything is coded and programmed and finished, we'll talk about how to demo your hack and possibly win some prizes in the process. To wrap things up, we'll have a little bit of a Q&A just to answer any questions you guys may still have regarding perhaps this workshop or the event in general. So this hackathon is going to be 24 hours long, and I think it's going to be really important to keep in mind that these 24 hours really isn't going to be a lot of time. Once you get started and start dealing with things like bugs or attending many events, things like that, these 24 hours are really going to start flying by really quickly. So what's going to be really important is knowing how to make the most out of your time during this hackathon. So the working style that you go into this hackathon with is going to depend a lot on the goals you're trying to achieve. Maybe you're trying to create a hackathon project that's a really awesome hackathon project to put on your resume, or perhaps you're coming here for the purpose of networking and meeting new people. It's really dependent on what you're trying to achieve for yourself during this event. Do keep in mind that if you're on a new team working on a new project, this can equal lots of potential friction between one another. Something I would definitely recommend taking into consideration is this diagram that I have on screen. So this is the forming, storming, norming, performing model of group development. And the basic concept of this diagram is that, for every single team, in order to come together, reach your goals, and create something amazing, has to go through every single one of these stages. Now, I know that for some people, working with other individuals, collaborating with them may come really naturally to you and may be really simple. But for some other people, maybe you're a little bit more introverted or shy, and that's totally fine as well. But perhaps for you guys, working with people, collaborating may be a little bit more of a process. And it certainly seems like so, putting it into these stages that I have on screen. So for those people, I definitely recommend perhaps thinking about these stages as you go from complete strangers to people that you're comfortable working with and able to support one another throughout the hackathon. Sorry. So what's going to be really important is building trust and building it fast. So at the beginning of hackathon, share your skill levels and your intentions. Talk about what you're good at, the things that you work on, as well as your weaknesses. And in terms of intentions, talk about the things that you want to achieve. If you're coming here for the purpose of networking and meeting people, make sure your teammates know that so that 5 hours in the hackathon, they're not surprised that you haven't gotten anything done. Try to focus on where you can make the most impact. So if there's something that you can take to the next level, or there's a certain part of the project that you would do really well on if you worked on that part of the project, let your team know, share it with your team, and together, try to create the best possible project that you guys can do as a group. Be there to, and of course, I remind everyone to support each other. Your teammates are going to be your most valuable resource throughout the hackathon. If you guys have any questions, concerns, things like that, please don't be scared or timid to ask your teammates for help and support, right? If you guys are still looking for a team, I do recommend checking out the team formation channel on Discord. Now we do have two team formation systems on Discord. So one's the team formation system that we had during HackCamp, which is more of a create introduction and reach out to other people that you're interested in working with. We also have a team roulette system for nwHacks. So how team roulette works is basically, it's a queue-based system. So once 4 people join the queue, you are automatically grabbed into a group and are able to work together. So if you guys are stuck on perhaps finding people to work with, I'll definitely check out these channels on Discord. So I want to get you guys started thinking with a question about what makes a project idea good. Is it perhaps how cool the project name sounds, or how many RGB lights are involved? Let me know in chat, or perhaps turn on your mic and let me know. I just want to see what you guys think makes a project idea really good. Perhaps something that's perhaps a little bit more commonly seen among hackathons, right? Let me know. I'll be taking a look at the chat. Building for social good, of course. I think in terms of social good, that's definitely something that's quite important to think about today. As with coronavirus, that's definitely been quite a problem for a couple of months now. So building a project for coronavirus has definitely been something that has been seen a lot, and there's also been a lot of problems in terms of issues in the United States that we've seen recently in terms of, I guess, what you guys probably heard about happening in Washington. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Appeal usefulness, of course, in terms of usefulness, trying to create something that is beneficial, helpful to maybe a large population of people, help solve a problem that society is facing. Of course, definitely that's something you may want to think about. Something that makes people's lives more convenient. That's definitely really important as well. Perhaps, there's a disability that you want to address, or a learning hindrance that you want to help improve for people who have a learning disability. Maybe something you want to think about. A strong sense of direction. Yep. Being innovative and introducing something new that can't necessarily be found elsewhere or isn't as good. Yeah, so perhaps building on a previous idea, taking this idea and turning it into something much more than that, making a creative twist from something that was created many years ago and giving it a really cool refresh, right? That could be useful. Billable in 24 hours, that's of course, you are limited on time, so trying to create something that is finishable within the time constraint is definitely something you need to think about. I think we've seen some pretty good ideas, so I'm just going to keep going now with the workshop. If you guys still have any more ideas too, let me know in chat, and as I'll be paying attention to it throughout the workshop. All right, so how do I come up with a good idea for my hackathon? So ideation could be the most important part of your weekend. An idea can make or break your hackathon project. Good ideas can become great ideas with a little bit of foresight. Some questions you might consider asking are, what problems are we passionate about finding a solution for? Who are we designing this product for? How do we ensure this actually helps the user? What do we want to learn and grow and achieve during this hackathon? What are my strengths and weaknesses? How can my team and I cover each other's bases? You may also want to think about the business aspect of your project. So perhaps ask, what's the minimum viable product? And for those who don't know what that is, the MVP is basically the simplest prototype you can create to solve the problem at hand, which may be very important to think about as you are constrained on time. So creating a solution that directly and concisely answers the problem can be really important to think about in order to ensure that you're able to finish the project that you're thinking of creating. We also want to think about, how should we break down the work? So what should this person do? What should that person do? How should I contribute to this project? And for all that we can accomplish at the hackathon, what are some possible stretch goals for the future? Maybe we want to turn this initial whiteboard hackathon idea into something much more than that. Perhaps we want to keep working on it even after the hackathon's over and turn it into a product that we want to sell. Maybe start thinking about the business plan, the marketing goals that are achieved, things like that. And that'd be pretty cool things that you want to perhaps include on your project. You may also want to think about your tech stack. So language that you want to code in, maybe pick one or learn a new one, maybe at a workshop with a mentor or even on your own time today. Perhaps get a little bit of a refresher with a language that you haven't worked on for a little while, so you can use it tomorrow during nwHacks. Now, all these points will prove useful when you're designing a demo presentation at the very end of the hackathon. Now, we'll be talking a little bit more about exactly how demos are going to work and what they're going to look like, but these may be questions or points that you may want to think about as you're creating a project and thinking about how your demo is going to look like at the very end. Now, if you're still stuck on exactly the project that you want to create or the idea you want to tackle during this hackathon, what I would recommend start thinking about is a topic that you're interested in. So a cool topic could be COVID, mental health, or robotics. Now, this topic doesn't really have to be relevant or related to computer science at all. It could be something like food or Legos even, or perhaps, I don't know, stuffed animals. It depends on what you're interested in, but it'd be a good starting point for perhaps what you want to create during the hackathon. And from there, start thinking about problems or issues currently involving that topic. Maybe I'm really frustrated with the fact that people aren't taking COVID seriously, and that I want to do something about that for my hack. Or maybe for mental health, maybe a problem I want to address is the fact that therapists, during their therapist sessions, they're wasting too much time at the beginning of the sessions, getting caught up with their clients when that time could have been better spent helping the client out and talking about more important matters. So once you brainstorm some problems or issues that you want to address or think about during your hack, start developing possible solutions that you can create. So going back to the example I mentioned about the therapist and the mental health thing, so a possible solution that I could develop for that is maybe an app. And inside this app, not only can a therapist perhaps send the user things like worksheets, assignments, things like that, but from the user side, they can not only fill out the assignments, but also provide updates, things like how they've been feeling, what's been bothering them, journal entries, things like that. So that before the therapist session, the therapist can grab all this data so that they know exactly what to talk about and address during their next session. So less time is being wasted getting caught up with what the user's been up to, right? Now, from there, you start thinking about your tech stack, how you want to create this project, your design and feel, your UX, UI elements, things like there, and then you would start hacking. Now, as much as I said so far about trying to succeed and doing well at the hackathon, I can't address enough the fact to still take care of your health. Take regular breaks and get some sleep. This is going to be a 24 overnight hackathon. I do not recommend you guys staying up the entire night and pulling an all-nighter. Ruining your health is definitely not worth creating a perfect project. I remind you guys that hackathons are not about winning. They're a chance to learn something new, build with it, and share with the world. You can network and meet new people. There's going to be a lot of like-minded individuals at this event. During these past months, it's been really hard to meet anyone in general because of COVID and things like that, not being able to go out. So at the hackathon, there's going to be a lot of like-minded individuals who like computer science as much as you do, or like design and UX elements as much as you do. It's going to be an awesome chance to make some friends and meet some new people. You can attend a workshop just like you are right now, or a talk. We'll be having a lot of more workshops during the event itself tomorrow on Saturday as well as Sunday, so please do check them out. You can play a mini game. We'll be running a variety of games and mini events throughout the hackathon, most of which, if not all, will involve some sort of prize if you are the winner. I also remind everyone to please be open to everyone's ideas, no matter how absurd or crazy or out of the world it may seem. That crazy idea that seemed, just completely, out of this world may be the idea that ends up making your project stand out at the end of the day, right? So I definitely recommend, taking consideration everyone's ideas, no matter what it may seem like at first. And if you guys can't, decide on whether or not to incorporate it, I'd recommend perhaps going to a democratic vote. That's something we often do at nwHacks Logistics. In fact, during our meetings, when we can't decide on exactly which solution that we want to take or address, we go to a simple democratic vote and see what everyone's opinion is on the issue and go from there in terms of what path we want to take to address the problem. Now, lastly, coding is also not the only way to contribute. Now, this is your first hackathon and you don't have much computer science experience at all. That's totally fine. This can be an awesome chance to get started, to write your very first line of code, to meet someone new and get a feel for what hackathons are about. This can be a little bit different because things are online and remote, but there's still going to be a lot of opportunities for you available to meet someone new, as I said, learn something new and create something amazing. So many non-programming roles are also needed in hackathon projects. Hacking really does not equal coding. Some other technical roles that are needed are designers. So people who work with Figma or Webflow, as well as engineers. If you're doing more of a hardware hack, perhaps for your project, you're trying to make a robot that cooks you the perfect sunny side egg every single time. And if that's what you made for a project, that'd be pretty awesome. I'd love to buy it someday and just let me know. Some other non-technical roles that are needed are researchers, demoers, interviewers, and project managers. And depending who you are, maybe you want to mix and match. Perhaps you're a designer, researcher, and demoer. Maybe you're an engineer and a project manager. This obviously depends on who you are and your interests. And it's definitely something that you want to discuss with your teammates in terms of which roles every single person is best suited for. And it's totally fine at the end of the day if the role that you're taking on is not involved with programming at all. In fact, quite often you'll see at hackathons, people are designated designers for the entirety of the hackathon. Designers play a really crucial role, designing the UI elements, creating the look and feel of the entire application, whether it be a mobile app, a web application, or something else. Moving on, so this title is a bit misleading in terms of hacking without hacking. So what we're trying to say here is that hacking really is not the only part of a hackathon. There's actually a bunch of things that you could do. You can learn about industry from mentors, sponsors, other hackers. You could ask about career choices, academia. Please ask away. You could secure a job. Sponsors are generally hiring or soon hiring. Bring your resume and possibly land that summer internship you've been looking into for so long. You can attend a workshop or learn a new skill, both technical or non-technical. So a technical workshop was like the API workshop that we saw from Hootsuite previously. A non-technical one would perhaps be this workshop you're attending right now in terms of how to succeed at a hackathon. You could play a mini game, win some prizes in the process. You get inspired by the individuals around you and make some friends in the process. The list goes on. These are just a few things that you could look into, and it's definitely for you to, explore and craft the hackathon experience to what you're interested in and the things that you definitely want to achieve. I definitely recommend, looking around our schedule, checking out Discord, see what's available to you and the things that you want to look into and attend personally during this hackathon this weekend. Now, as much as you can plan ahead though, and think about exactly what you want your weekend to look like, how you want your project schedule to look like, what you want to get finished, throughout the day. Not everything will go according to plan. As I'm sure many software developers, programmers are aware, bugs are inevitable with any programming project. So bugs and issues will arise during hack. Knowing how to resolve them is going to be very important to your success. We can think of at least 3 possible solutions you can use. You can break it down, ask the community, or seek mentor help. So the first one we have is breaking it down. So oftentimes problems can be quite overwhelming at first. Figuring out what you're actually stuck on can be quite beneficial. What you often will see programmers doing is grabbing an animate duck and speaking to that duck about the issue they're having. Now, what they're doing is putting the problem into spoken English, and in the process, they're helping break the problem down into more they're helping break the problem down in their mind so they can solve the issue. Now, in the process, they can perhaps take this much larger, initially seemingly insolvable issue that they had into much smaller problems that they can systematically solve one by one and overcome this larger problem at the very end, right? And of course, you probably also heard about Googling. It's going to be a very valuable skill to have as a programmer. Copy pasting that error code you're having into Google search can take you directly to a solution, perhaps on Stack Overflow or some other programming forum are available on the internet. Googling is going to be very valuable as you get started with programming, if this is your first time. All right, the next one we have is asking community. So there's no shame in asking questions. Everyone has to start somewhere. So you have your teammates, mentors, other team members, and even organizers at your disposal. And there's gonna be many avenues to go about asking these questions. You go on Discord, maybe shoot a message into general chat or or a mentor text channel, and reach out to them. Maybe be like, hey, is anybody having this issue? Hey, has everyone experienced this problem before? Hey, has anybody able to solve X, Y, and Z using this method, things like that. And simply reaching out, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be willing and happy to help you out throughout the community, other hackers, things like that. You could schedule a one-on-one. If there was something cool that you saw someone make or created, you could reach out to them and be like, hey, can we schedule a one-on-one sometime so you can talk about it? I thought your project was really cool, or this implementation of this part was really awesome. I'd love to talk about it more and discuss about how you were able to do such a thing. You could go to a sponsor booth and talk to a sponsor about help. Sponsors themselves are quite often, sponsors coming to our events are quite often programmers or software developers themselves and have experience, creating projects or hackathons, things like that. They may have already been to multiple hackathons before and, attended as a sponsor at them as well. Lastly, we have is seeking mentor help. So we welcome many industry professionals to our hackathons. Most of them have extensive knowledge of their field, possibly have worked many years already doing what they love in computer science. What you often find is mentors hanging out in the mentor lounge or floating around. Now, this is a virtual hackathon, so we don't have a physical mentor lounge for you guys to visit. But throughout the hackathon, you will find mentors constantly available online for you guys to reach out to and reach out for help. Do keep in mind that mentors aren't there for code for you, but they're very happy to troubleshoot bugs and provide expert guidance. How I like to think of things is think of the mentors as the TAs that you have in your classes. You wouldn't go up to a TA with a problem and expect a step-by-step grid analysis solution 5 minutes later. No, it's the same idea with mentors, right? You'd go up to a mentor with the problem that you're having, and they'd able to provide some tips and tricks in terms of how you may want to address this problem. Perhaps talk about the implications of choosing this solution over that solution, tell you about how amazing this solution is, or how they've used this method in the past before. As I said, they are quite experienced and wise in what they do, so please don't feel scared to reach out to them. They are here for the sole purpose of helping you out with your projects. Alrighty, so once things are programmed and ready and finished and everything's been designed and all the UI elements have brought together, you've connected all the front end, back ends, all the bugs have been resolved, it'll be time to demo our product. So demos then and now. So demos at in-person hackathons were generally science fair style, science fair expo style, sorry, Dragon's Den on stage style, or a combination of both. Now each hackathon catering to different attendees can be quite different. Maybe you went to a different hackathon run by a completely different organization in the past. They may do demos very differently from how we do things at nwPlus. So this year we'll be doing some differently styled demos and judging for our virtual hackathons. Make sure to read up on demo guidelines and ask questions early. Given the sheer amount of projects and work to coordinate judging and demos, last minute adjustments are often very hard to accommodate. I can't stress this last point enough. Please do not wait till the last minute to submit. Submit early and make changes whenever you need to. We are trying to ensure that everyone is on a level and fair playing field. So it's really hard for us to make any sort of exceptions in terms of allowing you guys to submit even after the submission, allowing you guys to submit after deadline has passed, even if it was because of Wi-Fi issues or your laptop crashed, things like that. We are trying to keep things as fair as we can. So instead of in-person demos or live stream demos, this year we will be requiring video demos at most of our hackathons. As always, read and understand the guidelines well in advance. Keep your demos within the 5-minute mark, as that is the limit that we are setting for nwHacks. Start your video demo editing process very early. Render versions of the video as soon as you start creating content. Ensure that your video files are accepted, file types and sizes by dev post. And as I said, if you're having technical difficulties, communicate to an organizer before the submission deadline. It is very hard for us to make any sort of exceptions after the deadline has passed. So what is the best demo strategy though for my video demo? So how I like to think of things is imagine you're on Dragon's Den and you're trying to secure a pitch or trying to pitch your idea to secure funding, right? What you may want to do is watch some pitches online to learn how to do them. I see a question about what's the submission format on DevPost. So in general, most video files should work on DevPost. So MP4s, any videos that work with YouTube should be fine. We'll be requiring that you provide a YouTube link to your submission with your we're requiring that you include a YouTube link to your video with your dev post submission. So anything that is able to work with your YouTube upload will be fine for your dev post submission. So I'll continue on. So as I said, you may want to watch some pitches online to learn how to do them. So, you could watch an episode of Dragon's Den or the equivalent Shark's Tank tonight, or what I would recommend doing is also watching some past hackathons and past hackathon demos and watch how they've been doing it. Online hackathons have been running for a couple months now, so there's been quite a few organized. So you could go check out and watch what a winning hackathon demo looks like, and you could structure your demo for nwHacks very similarly to how they do it, right? It could be a good nice starting point for how you want to do things. So what I'd recommend doing is telling a story to your judges, perhaps, make them want to help you, make them believe that your idea is the best idea in the room. Some questions you may want to think about is, what's the problem we're addressing? How are we solving this problem? Who does this benefit? How did we build this? How scalable is this to a larger population? What does this product look like? So this would be where you present your prototypes or designs. What challenges do we face? What did we learn and grow and achieve throughout this hackathon? What changes would we make if we had more time? If we were to continue building on this project in the future, even after the hackathon finished, how would we improve and build on this project in the future? And lastly, why do you, the judges, care about my project? Is there some direct impact to the judges' lives? Does it benefit society in some way that you want to talk about throughout your video demo, right? Now, these are some questions that we have brainstormed and thought about that you may want to consider as you're creating a video demo. Now, you may want, of course, spend some time talking about it with your team before you create a video demo in terms of exactly the things that you address and talk about in your demo, right? As your demo is going to be very important to the success of your project submission. We're going to be breaking down our judging process, into multiple stages. And the video demo that you're going to be submitting is going to be a very crucial part in the early process of the judging process that we're having at nwHacks. So once everything is demoed and we've given our prizes and everything is like that, everything's been set, we'd be at the end of the hackathon. So what happens next? So of course, congratulations to our winners. But again, hackathons are not about winning. You may want to think about, spend a few minutes thinking about, what did you learn? What did you build? And share it with the world. Maybe write a small post on Facebook or on your Instagram story, talk about how cool of an issue you were able to come or how cool your project is. And it's totally fine at the end of the day if you didn't win any prize, with your hack, right? Because I think the most important part of this hackathon is the fact that you're going to be leaving this hackathon at least a little bit more wise and experienced that you came into the hackathon at the very beginning. And I think that's something really important to think about and consider as you leave the hackathon after Sunday finishes. You may also want to think about continue building on your project in the future. So you have a great idea in your hands, use it and build on it. Perhaps reconnect with the mentors, sponsors, volunteers who helped you along the way. And those teammates that you met, they're potentially very like-minded individuals. Perhaps continue collaborating with them in the future, right? Maybe not just with this hackathon project, but maybe with another hackathon or on a school project or a personal project, right? Also remind you guys to please provide feedback. Let us know how it went. Let us know what went well, what could have been better, things like that. We are trying to make our events as awesome as they possibly can for our future hackathons. We'll be running at least one more, hopefully just one more virtual hackathon with cmd-f during the spring. Hopefully that's it, and we'll be able to return back to in-person hackathons in September, but of course we'll have to see how things go from there. An overview of the prizes they'll be having. So we'll be having podium prizes. So $1,500 for the first place team. Now this is for the entire team, not for every single team member. $1,000 for second and $500 for third. We also be having a popular vote prize from the community. We'll be having 4 popular vote winners. We will be also having sponsor prizes. So our generous sponsors have provided us with some awesome prizes. Please check out our dev post for details in terms of qualification or requirements, not qualifications, requirements in terms of how to qualify for these sponsor prizes, as well as the associated prize with the sponsor prize. We'll also be having many of activity prizes throughout the hackathon as well. So if not all of our mini activities will have some sort of prize associated if you are a winner of these activities. We'll also be having a stamp raffle, as I'm sure you're aware of by now. So for every stamp you collect from attending an activity, you'll be automatically entered to a raffle to win a prize valued at $15. We'll be having a couple of these prizes for you guys to win in the raffle. A quick overview of our schedule. So our opening ceremony starts on Saturday at 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. We'll be having sponsor boothing right after from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday, as well as on Sunday from 1:45 p.m. to 3 p.m. Now, these are just the formal scheduled boothing for our sponsors. Sponsors may still pop into their booths throughout the day in between these formal scheduled boothing times. The hacking period is from Saturday 1 p.m. to Sunday 1 p.m. The submission deadline is going to be at Sunday 1 p.m. I definitely recommend starting your submission process props around 12:30 Sunday p.m. If not earlier, just make sure you're able to get submitted on time, as we will be not making any terms exceptions in terms of allowing people to submit afterwards. After that, we'll be running closing ceremonies on Sunday at 3 p.m. An overview of our rulebook. So nwPlus, we take honesty and integrity very seriously. We'll be requiring that you break your work down into small regular commits with clear commit messages. Ensure that all work is your own. Code can only be committed by members of your own team. That all work after the brainstorming phase can only be started after the hackathon officially begins, which is the opening ceremony. We also take general conduct very seriously. Always treat the teammates, volunteers, mentors, organizers, and others with respect. We do not tolerate acts of harassment, trolling, deception, or abuse, and we abide by the nwHacks code of conduct. We take pride in offering safe, welcoming events for all. Anyone found in violation of these rules and expectations may be immediately booted from the event, so please do keep that in mind. That is all we have for today in terms of my workshop. If you guys have any questions regarding this workshop or about the event, I'll be answering them now. Please just send the questions into chat or perhaps open up your mic and I'll answer them directly.
First, before we start the questions, what a wonderful workshop, Kevin.
Thank you, Daniel.
You did an amazing job. I really enjoyed it, and it's probably prepped me as well as for my future hackathon experiences.
Thank you, Daniel. I think.
Pardon me?
Can you get the stamp raffle going? I'm not sure what the password is.
The staff raffle?
The stamp raffle.
Yes, I was going to get to that right now.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
In case anyone is wondering and they would like to collect their stamps for this workshops and maybe take a break and they don't necessarily want to be here for the Q&A session, please use the code nwHacks, and I'm just going to post it in the chat right here. Yeah, once again, so if you guys want to go and you don't want to stay here for the Q&A, please feel free to go. We'll start the Q&A with any questions you guys might have. Just as a note, at 5 p.m., we're going to have our 1 hour long game session with the nwHacks staff. It's going to be really exciting. We're going to have many different games which we're going to play, as well as we're going to be open to taking suggestions to what games you guys want to play. And we'll spend an hour doing that before our next sponsored workshop. On that note, once again, thank you, Kevin, for the amazing workshop, and off to you.
Alrighty. If you guys have any questions, please turn on your mic or send it in chat. I'll be answering any questions regarding the event or the workshop itself. I think, Daniel, you can probably, when do you want to end the recording? Maybe after Q&A or before?
I'll do it after the Q&A.
After? Okay, all right, sounds good. What are some foods that you recommend hoarding for hackathons? Now, traditionally with in-person hackathons, there's actually a lot of food that you could hoard, like in terms of like chips, snacks, things like that. But now, of course, it's online, so it's not exactly possible for you to hoard. But in terms of food, I'd recommend looking into, I guess. Your mother's cooking, I think, is always really nice. But in terms of stashing up stuff, maybe like a couple granola bars. Maybe like a trail mix here and there would definitely be nice if you're trying to stay up late, as you will probably get hungry late into night if you are hacking for extended duration.
For tomorrow, we're going to have an exclusive food-related discounts for all our participants. So stay tuned for that.
Ooh, look forward to that. Okay. Bayan, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. He or she asks, do we present our project along with a video? So how the submission is going to work is you're going to have to make a video demo and then include that video demo, which you're going to be uploading to YouTube, include the link to the YouTube video demo with your submission on DevPost. Yolanda asks, for hackathons, you can either submit an app or a website, right? What else can you build, or are these the only options? There's actually a lot of things you can create. It's definitely not limited to an app or a website. You could also consider doing a hardware hack. So maybe create a robot, things like that. These are robot, app, website. Those are just a few things you can brainstorm. You could definitely. It's anything that's programming, hardware engineering related. It's definitely not related. Or sorry, it's definitely not limited to just these options. Oh, yes.
What about a machine learning model? Like, is there a way you'd want it presented? Like, we do a demo, but otherwise you'd get like your TensorFlow code and it wouldn't really be it wouldn't be in like a nice website or something like that. Is that
Right,
okay?
right.
Or?
So in terms of I guess those projects that aren't on a website, as long as you talk about all the different aspects, all the areas of your project in the video demo, and make sure that everything's covered in the video demo, it should be fine. It doesn't have to be in some beautiful UI UX design in order to be presented. If that answers your question.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Just on top of that,
Yeah.
we're going to have access, or would like to see access to your GitHub repositories as well, the work you've done. If in case need, we'll take a look at your code if it comes down to it.
Perfect. All right, Emily asks, this is my first hackathon. What if our team doesn't complete our project in time? Is it common not to fully complete? Should we be making a demo for an incomplete project, or is it judged based on what work we complete? Good question, Emily. So it is quite often for people to not be able to finish their projects during a hackathon. 24 hours is quite constraining in terms of finishing a project from beginning to end. If you do find yourself not able to finish your project completely, I definitely recommend still creating a video demo based on what you have and just submit the project that you've finished so far. Because if you don't submit anything, you won't be graded for any of the work that you're able to complete. So just create a video demo and a submission based on what you're able to finish, if that answers your question.
In 24 hours, it may be difficult to build a project that's not 100% works or not 100% robust. We really do value the idea, the entrepreneurial aspect of the project, as well as the methods you guys are choosing to implement it, as well as the target for who is it going to help, why, and its impact on the world.
And also another quick thing is when you're building projects for hackathons, I recommend only considering the best case scenario. I feel like making it completely robust is definitely not something that a lot of people can do in 24 hours. And also in this case, especially when you're screen recording or whatever, you're going to do it yourself. So you can just kind of build things based on that everything is working, and for best case scenario, you can kind of, I guess, disregard the outliers and stuff at this point of the stage. I guess that's one of the, tips kind of you can use.
I think adding on to Michelle's point, it obviously wouldn't be a good idea to not consider any of the possible situations or outliers. But of course, it doesn't have to be perfect. Quite often you'll see at hackathons people having very spaghetti and unreadable code. Although for me, that's quite often for everything I write. But yeah, your code doesn't have to be pretty or perfect. As long as it's functional and usable, it should be fine. As I said, you are under a pretty tight time constraint.
So in terms of because some people on my team were talking about oh, there's someone that you can get to help with the project. What are the rules in terms of that? I'm assuming you can't really get external help, but say if you got tips and tricks from someone, at what point is it okay and not okay?
Right. So in terms of help, right? I think it's fine as that it's fine as long as you're talking to them, asking how they did. But if we're asking that you guys do not like ask them to provide their code for you to copy and paste. All the code that you include in your project has to be your own, like no plagiarism, things like that. If you're asking them for like, how they implemented this, what tools, things that they use to create this, that's totally fine. We definitely encourage having these types of discussions.
So basically, it's okay as long as they don't write any code for you, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like we have a question from Peter.
Hi.
Yes. Hello, Peter.
Actually, what streaming platforms would you recommend for recording a demo video for each project?
I actually don't have much experience in terms of video editing, things like that. If Daniel or Michelle want to add on to my answer, but in terms of, I guess, recording, if you're a UBC student, I know that UBC provides a screen recording service that is for free, but if Michelle or Daniel wants to add on in terms of video editing, I know you guys might have a little bit more experience.
Aside from OBS?
Yeah, aside from OBS, yeah.
In our hacker syllabus, we should have a lot of information when it comes to resources and it comes to medias you guys could use when it comes to recording. In case you'd like any more suggestions when it comes to recording purposes, just reach out to us through DM and we could assist you with more comprehensive details than we can provide at this very moment.
Yeah.
Okay, there was a question in chat from Denny's. He asks, will the theme be announced tomorrow? So nwHacks is there's no theme with nwHacks. You're able to create anything. There's no theme limitation to nwHacks. You're able to brainstorm anything that you wish or create. I think that's as long as it's appropriate, yes.
Yeah, the only requirements that we have are for the sponsor prizes, that sponsors are looking in particular, things from your hacks, but besides that, we're not going to limit your creativity in any way.
Did we answer the question from Yolanda about the demo submissions if we suggest him in a video demo?
From 438?
Yes.
Do we submit? I think I addressed her question, and do we submit? Yeah, so for the last part, I'm not sure if I addressed the last part correctly. Do we submit the code through GitHub? Yeah, do make sure you are version control. Well, it doesn't have to be through GitHub, but make sure you are doing version control through some sort of system, whether it could be Bitbucket. I know that's something that's used sometimes. GitHub is just the most commonly used website that is used for version control. But as long as we can see that you are making commits, that you're not copying and pasting from a previous project, you are good to go. Does a project have to have a front-end portion? For example, if you're doing an ML project, no, you do not have to have a front-end portion. Like projects that we've seen are like, hardware hacks. They definitely obviously do not have a front-end portion. It's be something that you more physically interact with. For something that's a more machine learning based, it does not have to include front-end UI UX elements. As long as you talk about the things that you created and demo all the features and whatnot in your video demo, it's totally fine. Any more questions? You guys can feel free to turn on your mic if you want to ask me. Oh, Peter, yes, I saw your hand.
Yeah, actually, will the theme for the projects be disclosed tomorrow, depending on what kind of theme or model, or what the goal of everyone's project is going to be tomorrow for the hackathon? Yeah,
so in nwHacks, we don't have a theme for nwHacks. You're able to brainstorm whatever you wish to create. The only limitations, as we said, as Michelle said, sorry, is for sponsor prizes. There are some specific requirements in order to qualify for these sponsor prizes. If you guys are interested, do please check them out in order to qualify.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yolanda asked in chat for the nwHacks, do we have to submit our code as well or just the video demo? So the video we are requiring that you have both your code as well as your video demo. do submit your code with some system of version control, and the video demo is also required for judging in order to qualify for the prizes. So yes to both, short answer.
Essentially, the video is our replacement for in-person presentations.
Yeah, and demos, yeah.
For if you're doing something that's kind of hardware related, they said, I read in the rules, I'm not sure if these ones are up to date, but that you can't code before the project starts, except for like 3D printing or cutting out components, right? But those components also have to be designed. So does that mean I'm allowed to use my online, like my CAD design platform to create a physical model of an object tonight, or does that have to start tomorrow?
For that question, I think in terms of, if it's already been, I guess elements have already been like, I think designing the elements, I guess in terms of getting them 3D printed is fine. In terms of assembling, we ask that do not start assembling any of the pieces or the code for any of the mechanical parts. Okay. If Daniel or Michelle wants to clarify if I missed anything, but I think that should be fine. Yeah.
Essentially,
I think you're right. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Michelle, please. In terms of any lines of code you start tomorrow. Don't assemble anything. If you need something like to 3D print something that takes a couple hours to print, then might as well print that ahead of time. Essentially, all the ideation we allow ideation before the beginning of the hackathon. Although any implementation is when the hackathon starts.
Sue asks, if by the end of the hackathon we weren't able to add some features to our product that we were envisioning, I would love to present those ideas in our demo, even though we didn't actually implement it. So yes, if you didn't finish whatever you're making, I definitely still present everything you have, as well as mention things that you were not, if you didn't have enough time to implement that, but you would have included or would have changed. I definitely would still talk about it in your video demo at the very end.
Friend, any other question, friends?
Looks like it's about it. Last call for any questions?
I mean, if you have any more questions, you can always, ask in the
Discord.
Ask Organizers text channel on Discord as well. How to claim your stamps. So on Discord, there's a text channel that's available for all the hackers. It's called, I think, Stamps. And if you go there, you'll be able to see a message with a short instruction where you can leave an emoji, any emoji I think works, on that message, and the Discord bot will DM you with like something saying, please enter your password within 30 seconds or something. And yeah, you guys can enter your password, and then that's yeah.
Chris asks, have you ever seen a project win a hackathon that was unfinished? I think you have to define what is considered finished, I guess. Like finished can be you've implemented every single possible functionality, and it's perfect to, I guess, how you've envisioned the project. No, I think it's not. We've definitely seen projects that went for that isn't like perfect or hasn't implemented exactly everything that the project has initially has initially envisioned at the very beginning. But in terms of, I guess, if a project has a ton of bugs or a ton of issues, then in those cases, then probably not, as in most cases the projects that we have seen win are some pretty top tier projects, at least for nwHacks. Yeah. Colin asks, is there a link to your slides for presentation Kevin presented? I will be posting the slides somewhere. Do we have a text channel for just workshops?
UBA.
Okay, we'll be posting it somewhere, but you will know somewhere on Discord once we post it.
As well as we're recording this session and we'll be posting it.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think that's all the time we have today for questions. Thank you, Kevin, so much. And thank you everyone for attending this workshop. Hopefully, just remember, if you want to claim your stamp, it will be nwHacks W in the end to claim your stamp and enter the raffle. With that being said, we have another exciting opportunity for you guys. In 10 minutes, we'll be playing an hour of games. And we have a list of games which we are planning to play, but we'll be open to any other games. And it'll just be a good opportunity for you guys, not only to get to know us, but as well as for us to be like, oh, this hacker is doing X, so and this hacker is doing Y. And we'll be very much interested and very much excited to get to know you guys and remember you guys, because there's so many of you guys out there. So that would be it. Thank you everyone for coming. And
Thanks, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thanks to everyone. Hope everyone enjoyed it.